Welcome to Subramani. I am going to tell you a story. This is a very old story attributed to various people. In my story, it's going to be attributed to Buddha. There was this young boy who used to eat a lot of sweets, and his father was finding it very difficult to tell him not to eat sweets. Two things: one is it was spoiling his health, and it was costing the father a lot of money, which he didn't have. Maybe he was a poor man. So he took his son to meet various big people and tell them that please advise my son not to eat sweets. And the son would go listen to the religious leader or whoever it was very attentively, but come back and continue his habit of eating sugar or sweets. So one day the father took him to Buddha and told Buddha that my son is eating too much sugar. Can you please advise him not to eat so much of sugar? So Buddha said, can you come back after 4 weeks and I'll tell you what to do. So very disappointed and dejected, the man went back with his son, but dutifully came back after 4 weeks, and then Buddha told the boy, see, sugar is not good for you. You should stop eating sugar. So you should stop the craving. It's costing your father a lot of money and it is bad for your health. So please don't eat sugar. Now this man was thoroughly confused. He said, but Buddha sir, you could have told me this last time, right? I came to you 1 month back and you didn't say this. You just said come back after a month. Why couldn't you have said this last month? So Buddha turns to him and says, well, I heard you. And I wanted to tell him not to eat sweets, but I couldn't do that because I myself ate sweets. I myself liked sweets and I used to eat a lot of sweets. So I was wanting to check how easy it is to give up sugar, and the day you left I gave up sugar, and last 1 month I have not eaten any sugar, right? So since I could do it, I learned from it and I saw the benefits. Now I can tell your son, don't eat sugar, and today it makes more sense. Now the boy comes back home and lo and behold, he stops eating sugar. So the father asks him, what is the difference, right? So many people I took you to, they all said the same thing. They all said don't eat sugar. You didn't listen to any of them, but here you listen to Buddha. Why, what is the difference? So he says, well, I was only told that I should not eat sugar, but here is a man who took the trouble to experiment it and experiment with the concept that you don't eat sugar for a month. He undertook the trouble to find out what happens to give up sugar. He experienced it himself and then learned and then gave me advice. So I think this is much higher quality advice, and it is not just thrown from the air. This is given from his experience, and therefore I felt like listening to him. I think this is a brilliant story, and now I'll tell you the context. India's one of the best prime ministers was P.V. Narasimha Rao. P.V. Narasimha Rao had gone to the US to meet Al Gore, and Al Gore was telling India that we should have lesser nuclear weapons. Now, Narasimha Rao being Narasimha Rao, he wouldn't say yes or no. He was, remember, before becoming Prime Minister, he was also External Affairs Minister. Very well articulating types. He has written books. He could speak in some 8-9 languages, maybe 10. Right, very well educated, smart person, but he never came across as that. I mean, history is going to judge him far more fondly than what we used to judge him when he was in power. We did not even realize all this. He told Al Gore the story that then this boy stopped eating sugar. Now, what a better way than to tell Al Gore that you first reduce your nukes and then you come and give gyan to others about what they should do. I don't know whether our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, wants to use this story. But this is exactly the story which he should be telling Europe and US about buying fuel from Russia, right? When oil prices are high, it's fairly obvious that everybody would look for cheaper sources and would look for sources at all, right? You can't buy Iranian oil, you cannot buy Venezuelan oil, you cannot buy, I mean, if you are banning oil from all over the place, you can't buy Cuban oil, Brazilian oil. If you start banning everything, where will people turn to? So US in its great wisdom says you should not deal with Russia. I'm not getting into that. I'm just getting into the fact that if you want to give advice to anybody, you will have to walk the talk. You cannot just sit in your ivory tower and say this is what should happen. Look at how Indian regulators behave, right? They sit in an ivory tower and say this is what should happen. They catch hold of some MFDs and say this is how you should be selling. The challenge is not in telling the MFD what he should be selling. The challenge is in telling the 45 mutual funds and 15 life insurance companies how they should be designing their product. That is more important. Don't design a bad product. Don't design a product with 60% upfront commission and 5% or 2% every year. That is not a model which will work. That is not a model which is good for the end investor. If you design a product where you have salespeople who are incentivized to maximize revenue for the organization for which they are working, mis-selling will happen because of 2-3 things. One, it's a bad product. It's a bad product by design, and the regulator has no business saying that he is sitting in power without regulating the structure of the product. The structure has to be monitored by him, and he has to keep checking out what is happening, right? Catch hold of the managing directors who may personally not put in their own money, and they are more than willing to ask people to put in their money, right? It's like the manufacturer of soft drinks who don't let their children consume it. So here are manufacturers of insurance and mutual fund products who will not put their own money into 99% of their products or 98% of their products. 1 or 2 products which are very good for the end investor will have such a low commission that the distributor will not sell it. And in this product, all the manufacturers, top brass put in money. I've seen such products, and I'm sure the regulator has also seen such products, right? So all these things are important. So if you are trying to sell me a Maruti car, please come to me in a Maruti car. Don't come to me in a Santro or even worse, a Mercedes, trying to sell a Suzuki car to me, right? You cannot sell me a Maruti Suzuki car if you don't believe it. So act it. If you believe in it, buy the product. Make sure that you buy the product. If I were the CEO of a insurance company, I will not allow a product to be launched unless 2 or 3 of my top executive team is willing to put a reasonably big chunk of money, not 5,000 rupees. People earning 2 crores should be putting at least 10 lakhs into it on a yearly basis for 5 years, 6 years. So unless my product head, whoever it is able to sell to my own team, I mean, forget selling it to outsiders, my team, my vendors, my distributors, my employees, if you can't sell to them, there is no product at all. I will not like to sign an IRDA or a SEBI application for a product like this. So make sure that you understand what you're doing, that you're buying the right product, and therefore you are selling that product. Now this combination will work. I mean, like how it worked for the sugar boy. That was the purpose of doing this video. Thank you.